It's 40,000 BC. You open your eyes. No alarm clock, no sunlight through curtains. Just cold air on your face and the sound of someone breathing next to you. That someone is your entire support system, your family, your security team, your only source of warmth. There is no 911. There is no backup plan. There is just this group and you and whatever the day decides to throw at you. Welcome to a single day in the life of a Stone Age human. No phone, no fire alarm, no convenience store. Just you, your body, and 24 hours of pure survival. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why your ancestors were, frankly, absurdly tough. Let's start at the beginning. Sunrise. There's no snooze button in the Paleolithic. You wake up when the light wakes you up, or when the cold does, or when a predator's call does. Sleep itself was different back then. Researchers studying modern hunter-gatherer groups like the Hadza in Tanzania found something surprising. They don't sleep in one long block. They wake briefly throughout the night. Some scientists think this pattern is ancient, a built-in security system. Somebody in the group is always half alert, because in a world with lions, hyenas, and rival groups, full unconsciousness was a liability. You didn't get 8 uninterrupted hours. You got watchful, fragmented rest. And you were still expected to function the next day. No coffee required, just adrenaline and habit. The first task of the morning wasn't breakfast. It was fire. If the fire had gone out overnight, that was a crisis. Rekindling fire from scratch, using friction or sparks, could take a painfully long time. So someone in the group was usually assigned to keep embers alive through the night. This job mattered enormously. Fire meant warmth. Fire meant protection from predators. Fire meant the difference between raw and cooked food mattered more than people realize. Cooking breaks down tough fibers. It kills parasites. It makes calories easier to absorb. Some researchers argue that cooking is part of why human brains got so big in the first place. More usable energy, more fuel for a hungry organ. Your brain, by the way, burns roughly 20% of your daily calories. Just sitting there, thinking. In the Stone Age, that was an expensive habit to maintain. Breakfast wasn't cereal. It wasn't really breakfast at all in the modern sense. Food was eaten when it was available, not on a schedule. And most of it wasn't meat. This surprises people. Hunter-gatherer diets were mostly plant-based. Roots, tubers, nuts, berries, seeds, leafy greens. Gathering, done mostly by women and children in many recorded societies, provided the bulk of daily calories. Hunting was high risk, high reward, and often unsuccessful. You could spend an entire day tracking an animal and come home with nothing. Gathering was reliable, boring, maybe, but reliable. And reliability kept you alive. So the group splits up. Some go to gather, some go to hunt, some stay near camp to protect children, prepare tools, or process food. This division of labor wasn't rigid law. It shifted based on what the group actually needed that day. Flexibility was survival. Let's follow the gatherers first. They know this land intimately. Which plants are edible? Which ones will kill you? Which roots are only good after the first frost? This knowledge wasn't written down anywhere. It lived entirely in memory, passed from parent to child, generation after generation. A single mistake, eating the wrong berry, could be fatal. So this knowledge was treated with total seriousness. Children learned early, by watching, tasting carefully, and being corrected constantly. This was Stone Age education. No classroom. Just the forest. And someone older saying, "Not that one." Now let's follow the hunters. Hunting wasn't a solo action movie moment. It was slow, patient, and often collaborative. Persistence hunting is one theory researchers take seriously. Humans aren't the fastest animals, but we have incredible endurance, and we sweat efficiently, which most prey animals can't do as well, so a hunting group might chase an animal for hours. Not sprinting, just tracking, following, wearing it down until it overheats and collapses. This required teamwork, communication, trust. A hunt could take an entire day and still fail completely. And when it succeeded, The entire group ate. Sharing meat wasn't optional generosity, it was social insurance. Today, I share with you. Tomorrow, when I catch nothing, you share with me. This wasn't kindness for its own sake, it was a survival system built on reciprocity. Midday arrives. The sun is high. There's no lunch break in the corporate sense, but there is rest. Heat forces a pause. This is when tool making often happened. Flintknapping. Shaping stone into blades, scrapers, and points required intense focus. One wrong strike, and the whole stone shatters. Wasted. This wasn't a hobby. It was essential engineering. A good blade could mean the difference between a successful hunt and going hungry. Children watched this too. Learning to strike stone at the correct angle took years to master. Midday was also when social bonds were maintained. Grooming, storytelling, teaching. Not idle chatter, functional bonding. Anthropologists believe storytelling itself may have been a survival tool. Stories encoded information. Where water can be found, which animals are dangerous, which plants heal wounds. A good story was memorable. Memorable meant it survived being passed down. In a world without writing, memory was your hard drive, and story was the file format. As afternoon wears on, the group starts thinking about shelter. Depending on the environment, that might mean a cave, a windbreak of branches, or a structure made from animal hides stretched over bone or wood frames. Archaeologists have found evidence of deliberately built shelters dating back tens of thousands of years. These weren't random piles of debris, they were engineered. Post holes, deliberate layouts, fire pits placed with intention. Home, even in the Stone Age, was a designed space. Evening approaches. This is when the day's gathered food and hunted meat come together. The fire becomes the center of everything. Cooking happens. And so does something equally important: connection. This is the time of day most associated with talking, laughing, teaching, arguing, bonding. Modern research on remaining hunter-gatherer societies found something striking. Daytime conversation tends to focus on practical matters: complaints, coordination, gossip about who did what. Nighttime conversation around the fire shifts dramatically. Stories, myths, songs. Firelight seems to unlock a different kind of talk. Some researchers argue this nightly ritual shaped human culture itself. It's where shared belief systems were born, where identity as a group was reinforced, where children absorbed the accumulated wisdom of everyone who came before them. Not every night was peaceful. Danger didn't clock out at sunset. Predators were most active at dusk and after dark. Fire kept most of them away, but not always. Groups likely took turns staying alert through the night. Someone was always, in some sense, on watch. This is exhausting to imagine. Constant vigilance every single day for an entire lifetime. And yet this was simply normal. Not trauma, not extraordinary stress. Just Tuesday. Let's talk about health for a second, because this part surprises people. Stone Age life was hard, but it wasn't necessarily short and miserable in the way pop culture suggests. If you survived childhood, a genuinely big if, life expectancy could be reasonably long. Many hunter-gatherers lived into their 60s and 70s. Elders weren't dead weight, they were walking libraries. They held knowledge younger members hadn't learned yet. Their survival mattered enormously to the group's long-term success. By the time full darkness sets in, the group settles near the fire. Sleep comes in that same fragmented, watchful pattern. Someone stirs, checks the fire, listens, settles back down. Tomorrow will look almost exactly like today. Gather, hunt, build, share, watch, sleep, repeat. For hundreds of thousands of years, this rhythm was simply what being human meant. Here's the thing that should stick with you. This wasn't a primitive, lesser version of human life. It was human life for the vast majority of our species' existence. Agriculture is only about 12,000 years old. Cities are younger still. Everything you consider normal life, jobs, schedules, grocery stores, is a tiny recent sliver at the very end of an extremely long story. Your body, your brain, your instincts, they were shaped almost entirely by days that looked like the one we just walked through. The anxiety you feel checking your phone, the comfort you feel around a campfire, the satisfaction of a shared meal. None of that is random. It's inherited, passed down from ancestors who lived exactly the kind of day we just described, over and over, for thousands of generations. So next time your day feels overwhelming, remember this. Somewhere in your DNA is someone who tracked an animal for 6 hours, came home with nothing, and did it again the next day without complaint. You come from that. And that's not a small thing. What part of Stone Age life do you think you'd struggle with the most? Let me know in the comments. Until then, see you soon.